Welcome, Let Freedom Ring. Wishing everybody out there a happy new year. Welcome in 2024. As you can see, I'm back in the host seat. Double Cup and Chill has been canceled after one episode, so we're sorry, Uncle Jesse. But I am back with Let Freedom Ring. And my guest this week, Mike Lush. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, pleasure to have you on. Let's get to know you a little bit. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Chelsea most of my life. When I was middle school, about 8th grade, I was fortunate enough and lucky enough, my aunt and uncle kind of took me in. You know, kind of being in Chelsea was kind of like a tough area, you know. They took me in 8th grade, so I got a chance to do 8th grade in Saugus. Went to high school in Saugus, graduated in 2000.
Nice.
After that, I gone up to school and stuff. But other than that, on the summers and stuff, I'd go home, see family, and be in Chelsea. So most of my life, I was definitely in Chelsea most of the time. So.
Nice. And did you play? But you ended up going to Saugus High School.
I did, yeah.
Now, did you play a lot of sports in high school?
I did, yeah. I was lucky enough to play 3 sports. I played baseball, basketball, and football.
Nice.
As a freshman, I played football, all 4 years. Baseball all 4 years, basketball 3 years on varsity, and it was great. Being a 3-sported athlete and a captain was a great experience.
I got to ask this real quick because you said you played football. We back at that around Thanksgiving we were talking about they've kind of wiped out a lot of like the turkey bowls.
Yep.
I actually think you posted about a turkey bowl. Maybe your son was playing. Did they have a rivalry in Saugus?
So we did in Saugus, yeah. So our biggest rival was like Peabody.
Okay.
So when I got there, the rivalry was like almost 100 years. They did take some time off. They went to like a different school, so they played like a different school. But when I was there, it was Peabody, and for us, like Peabody was Division 1.
Yeah.
We're Division 2, so every year it was just, obviously we all got matched every year. But yeah, it for me. I mean, high school football in Massachusetts, like the Turkey Bowl, the Thanksgiving game is like the biggest game. I know you have the Super Bowl and all that good stuff too, but Thanksgiving is definitely one of the biggest games that you look forward to, and all 4 of the years that I played, unfortunately, we came up short, but it was a good experience.
Yeah, it's a good tradition, and they just don't have it in New Hampshire anymore. Like, there's none. I was like, I'm going to go to the North-South game this year. I was like, you know what? They're like, no, it doesn't exist anymore. And I was like, what? But your son did play in one too, right?
He did, yeah. So he was lucky enough. So as a freshman, he played at Fenway, actually.
Oh, wow.
So Woburn and Winchester have I think the 3rd or 4th longest rivalry in the state. I think it was like 125th year.
Okay.
And they got selected to play at Fenway. And as a freshman, he kind of worked his way in. He didn't get any time really, the whole year. Played freshman football, then JV. And then 2 weeks before the Thanksgiving game, the coaches, can you come up and practice? And he did, and he had a great 2 weeks of practice. So in that game, the coaches said, hey, we're going to get you in the game. But as a parent, you don't think that, because you go to all the games, and I'm sitting there like, oh, yeah, okay, I heard that before.
Yeah.
So the very first play of the game, he scored a 65-yard touchdown.
Oh, wow.
First play of the game, he about touched the ball varsity. And then the last play of the game, he won the game on a 62-yard touchdown.
Oh, wow.
So he had two touchdowns in the Thanksgiving game at Fenway as a freshman.
That's as cool as
so it's pretty cool. So you can go on YouTube and see it. If you just type in,
really?
Yeah, if you go in Winchester, Woburn, Thanksgiving game Fenway, you can kind of see the plays. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Now, what are 3 things that everybody should know about you?
I'm a dad. I have 3 kids. I have an 18-year-old, I have a 12-year-old, and I got a 10-year-old. I am a director of security with this company called Skyworks.
Okay.
I'm a twin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a twin.
Okay.
I'm a twin, yep. So that's like kind of personal stuff. But sport-wise, for 3 things, I was very lucky and blessed. I got a chance to play a couple sports in college, which was great. I got a chance to play professional basketball in 2 different countries, Mexico and Germany, which was unbelievable. And then, I love coaching. I love coaching sports, and it's like one of my favorite things to do. So.
No, that's awesome. Now, I got to ask about the twin thing because I didn't know that.
That's okay.
Does your twin live in the area?
She does. It's a paternal twin, so it's a girl. Yep. She lives in Saugus, right now, and she's a minute older.
Oh,
so
okay.
She always calls me and tells me she's the older sister and everything. So she's a minute older, and she always gets me on that one. So.
Oh, that's super cool. I just want a follow-up question, like for the professional basketball. How did that all kind of happen?
Yeah. So basically, after I graduated high school, in high school I kind of focused on like sports and really didn't care about school too much. growing up, I kind of growing up in Chelsea, it was difficult for me. I didn't have a father. My mother was kind of like more of a friend, and it was tough. It was tough for us as a family. I grew up like in the projects. We were on welfare and food stamps, and she really didn't want to work, and it was just a tough situation for us. Being a single mom, so high school, I didn't really care about high school much. I just wanted to kind of be with friends and like hang out and play sports. But as I got older, as a junior and senior year, you got to realize like be able to do well in school too, and that's something I didn't do well in. So I ended up going to junior college. My advisors thought it would be a good idea. Hey, go to JUCO, maybe kind of get your grades up and stuff. So I ended up going to Dean. I went to Dean. At that time, it was a junior college, and I was there 2 years, and it was the best experience I've ever had. Kind of had like that high school feel, like where it wasn't really big. Everyone kind of knew each other. The teachers still took attendance, so they kind of kept you accountable of going to school. So from there, I had a real good basketball career there, and the coach that was there was actually this guy named Jerry Corcoran, who played for the Celtics, and he was actually really good friends with Jimmy O'Brien at Ohio State. So then I attended Ohio State University, and unfortunately, being a guy that went there, I got a chance to practice with the team. So I wasn't officially on the team, but being a practice player, practice with them every day, still being recognized, kind of helped me in a lot of the ways. So then after I left Ohio State, I went to Leslie.
Okay.
I finished up at Leslie and had a great basketball career there. First team all-conference, preseason All-American. It was unbelievable, And so from there, I did a lot of basketball camps throughout the summers. So I'd work like the Red Auerbach basketball school. I would work the Casey Jones basketball school at the Cape. I would work like the Paul Pierce camp, Doc Rivers camp, Boston Celtics camp. So I did a lot of camps throughout the summer, speaking to kids. And 1 year that I worked the Casey Jones camp, I was there and we played pickup after. We always used to play pickup, and he was like really impressed the way I played and I spoke and just loved everything I did. And he asked me if he could, help me get to where I wanted to go, playing overseas. So his son, Casey Jones Jr., was actually like my agent.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's the guy that, like, when you have Casey Jones, as your agent, I mean, you're talking about a guy that has 11 championships, played for the Celtics, coached the Celtics, It's kind of like when he says he's representing you, guys come to kind of want to see you play. So that's kind of how it turned out for me. So when I had Casey Jones help me, like, I got a lot of things easier because he was the guy that was representing me as my agent. So he actually got me a chance to go to a couple different tryouts, and it worked out great. The first place I went was Germany. Was there for a year, and then I went to Mexico City in Mexico and played. And it was just a great experience, being able to like, have a house with basketball guys, giving you a vehicle with basketball guys, just meeting different people from all different part of the country. It was an amazing.
Now, how old are you at this point? Like, do you have kids already?
I do. Yeah, great question. Yeah. So when I was in Germany, I didn't have any kids.
Okay.
But then when I went in 2008 to 2009, I had my son, who was already like 3 years old at the time.
Yeah.
So like he would be home, I'd be off, playing for the season, and then coming back. But it was a tough transition, leaving him at home, at that time, But it was something I wanted to do, It was like something that I could have that no one could ever take away from me. So
absolutely, no, that's super cool.
Great experience, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, sticking with the theme of the show,
Sure.
Even though we got to find we lost the Let Freedom Ring sign for the table. I don't know. So if anybody has any information on it, please hit letfreedomring@askjeeves.com. But what does it mean to you to be an American?
It means, freedom. It means, equal opportunity. Whether you're a male or a female, everyone gets the same amount of rights here in this country. And, one thing about this country that I love is, you could be in a country somewhere and, you can have a dream, and I think the United States gives you the opportunity to fulfill that dream, whether it's owning your own business, whether it's, supporting your family and getting a job. And so I think that it gives you an opportunity, this country gives you an opportunity to, to really, better yourself and become the person that you want to be or that you dreamed about. So.
No, I like that answer. And we ask that question to everybody, and I know it's a loaded question because it just means so many things to so many different people, and I don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer to it, But I want to talk about this. You are really into coaching. You're a baseball coach, basketball coach. It's kind of a big part of who you are. How did you decide that you wanted to get into coaching?
It's a great question. So, again, as I grew up, growing up tough, getting a chance to live with my aunt and uncle, like my aunt and uncle, like weren't really into like sports, really. Like they weren't, it's just something they weren't into. So when I got a chance to move to Saugus, as an 8th grader, I played on this basketball team. I tried out for this basketball team, and this gentleman who was older than me, he's 10 years older than me. This guy named Chris Tarantino.
Okay.
He was a guy that I looked up to, and he was actually our coach. I played with this kind of church league called the Blessed Sacrament out of Saugus, and he was our coach. And he was a guy that like took me under his wing, and he was just unbelievable. The way that I seen like everyone looked up to him and how he was. I mean, he was a guy that at that time he was in college, and I'm like an 8th grader, 7th grader, and 8th grader, looking up to him, and he always gave me advice, and like I said, took me under his wing, and he was just a guy that was we became like best friends, and I still talk to him to this day, and just the stuff that he did for the kids and what he did, and I just wanted to be like that so bad. I wanted to be able to give back, and the things that I seen him do was just amazing.
Okay. So kind of like an inspiration.
Yeah, big time inspiration, and a guy that definitely meant a lot to me and means a lot to me in my life. Just helping me through situations, and like with college, just say, or high school, or just things that to better my life. So it was kind of like almost like a father figure, or like having a brother. He's 10 years older than me, but he was like a brother that I didn't have.
Yeah.
So he definitely looked out for me a lot.
Yeah, and I mean that's important. Like for good coaches to not only help with on the field or on the court, but like in life. So I got to ask this because I haven't coached in a long time. I was a wrestling coach for a good amount of years. It can be tough, right? What's the most challenging part of coaching?
I think the most challenging things. That's a great question, because it could be different for different people, right?
Okay.
Like my challenge that I have with coaching in Chelsea is maybe like the language barrier, or kids not being committed because they have things that they're doing in their life that whether they're working or can't make a practice because they have to take care of their brother or sister. So for me, like what's challenging in coaching is kids maybe not being as committed as much, or have to dealing with being able to go through things in their life where they can't be able to come to a practice or whatnot. It wouldn't be like a situation that wouldn't be able to be that hard was maybe like or difficult would be like a parent, parents. Like I don't deal with parents that much. I know some coaches be like, oh, well, parents kind of get kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't have that luxury of where parents can get mad at me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, like the kids that I deal with are a lot different than, say, someone from Saugus.
Yeah.
Or someone from, Bill Ricca, or someone from Chelmsford, or Revere, anywhere differently, right? So the challenge for me is like maybe the language barrier, or maybe in my particular cases, like maybe youth sports. There's really not a lot in the youth sports of Chelsea, so when I get the kids coming to my level, they don't really know what really to do.
Okay.
It's like we'll have like a practice, and I'm like, guys, hey, let's go to left field. We're gonna take some fly balls. Majority of them like, oh, where's left field? So it's kind of difficult, So, I mean, that's the challenge right now, is just getting the kids. I think once we get the kids and we can kind of get them, involved and wanting to play, I think it'll be okay. But that's my challenge right now. Maybe other coaches could have different challenges, but that's my challenge.
No, I think I think you bring up a really good point. In certain places, you do hear coaches saying, "Oh, the parents are the problem," or that's the most challenging part. And it's good when kids do have that support system, but there's some kids that don't.
Yeah. Dan, I wish I had that. I wish I could say, hey, it's the parents. But again, the kids that come to our games, like their parents, majority of the parents don't really care, like because they either have to work or they got to take care of their kid, or the whatever they have going on, So a lot of times you don't even have kids that come to the games. Yeah. I'm sorry, parents that come to the games. I apologize. So I wish I had that problem. I wish I could say, hey, the parents are just crazy. They're all, they're intense, but we don't have that,
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, I had an experience like that when I was coaching wrestling in Nashville at Elm Street, and I had a kid miss practice every Tuesday. Couldn't figure out. Like finally, I said, "What's going on with him?" He didn't want to tell me. turns out he would have to translate for his mom when they go grocery shopping. So he didn't want to do it, but he had no choice. So every time she go grocery shopping, she had to bring him. And yeah, I mean it's tough. And I think, those kids, it's not easy. There's so many different factors. And no, I think that's a really good answer. What's the most rewarding part of coaching?
Most rewarding part of coaching is, I tell my kids, whether I coach middle school or high school, whatever I coach, I treat them and I treat the team like it's their job. You got to come to work in your uniform, so that means you got to come to practice in your uniform. I don't accept texts when you're not going to be in practice. I expect a phone call. I'm giving you have to at least call me 2 hours before, so it's like a job for me. And these kids really like the structure. The rewarding thing the thing that I love the most is just seeing these kids become men. Going from like never playing a sport to actually being okay, but just being a good kid. My job is for you to become a man. I don't care about wins and losses. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care that we haven't won a game in 2 years. Who cares? But when a kid has never played a sport before or never played baseball, and they get a chance to go to Fenway, like to me, that's just the most rewarding thing, like seeing kids' eyes light up. And I always get emotional talking about my kids because I know what I've gone through in my life, and I know what they're going through right now. And so when they can become better men and they call me and they need a favor, coach, I need can you help me with my resume? Or hey, coach, can you give me a recommendation? Like they're putting their trust in me, and I love that. And at the end of the day, I'm teaching you to become a man. And baseball is second. It doesn't really matter to me about baseball if we win or lose or you become a better baseball player. If you become a better man and a student and someone that is a good person, like we're winning already, especially where they come from. So on our team, we do 4 team building activities. So 2 of them are the Red Sox games, and then we do a team dinner. And then what we do is like we rent a couple tents, and we'll put the tents on the field, and I'll get like a big projector and we'll watch baseball movies all night and like sleep at the tent, sleep on at the field and have a good time with the kids. But like just seeing those kids, like how excited they are, and knowing what they've been through. If I could alleviate the stress for 2 hours, whether it's a practice or a game or a team building activity, like that's the most gratifying thing that you could do. It's unbelievable. It's just an unbelievable feeling.
I like that. Yes, is there a movie that they all like, baseball movie they all like to watch over any others?
Yeah, I actually had to like the major leagues. They love the major leagues.
Okay.
A lot of them love major leagues. So a lot of the times, like I'll put like my favorite movie is The Natural.
Yeah.
And of course they get bored with it. Who wants to see Roy Hobbs be the best player of all time?
Yeah.
So, but they like like major leagues, or like we'll watch The Sandlot. They're like big into The Sandlot. But it's just a great time. We'll order pizza for the kids. We'll be in the tents. The movies will go. The movies will go all night, and it's just a team building fun activity for the kids to do. And the Red Sox games for me, like I feel like every year that I cry every year because I love to get to the top of the ramp before the kids get there. So I'm like a little kid.
Yeah.
I'll run up to the ramp because I know a lot of these kids haven't even watched a baseball game. Never mind being in the Fenway. So when they run up the ramp, I get to see their faces. I mean, I've had like every year at least 2 kids cry every year and give me a hug, and it's just like that's what it's all about for me. Like, so I can care less that I lost, 10-0, the day before. What I care about is a kid just hugging me, crying, saying he's never been to a Fenway game. Thanks, coach, so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So it's amazing.
That's awesome. I'm glad you do that. I mean, there's nothing like the first time, especially when you're a kid, that you see Fenway Park. At least from
Great experience for the kids. It's really nice.
You kind of talked about it a little bit because you said kind of who inspired your start, but was there any other coaches that you, growing up, really inspired you?
I mean, like I said, Chris Tarantino was huge in my life. My college coaches, a lot of my coaches, like I feel like I get a lot of my coaching from my old coaches, because the old coaches that I had in college, and I'm sure you probably had this too, like they were tough on you. A lot of coaches now, you have to kind of be careful what you say or how you act or what you say sometimes, because it could kind of be offensive to a kid. But the coaches that I had, like Coach Corcoran, at Dean, was a hard knock coach. I mean, I got a lot of things from him. He was tough, but he wanted the best from you. Coach Dave First, at Leslie University, he was one of the craziest coaches I've ever had. But he's also a guy that will, take your shirt off for you. So I kind of implement my coaching kind of based on those coaches, like just being a hard-nosed guy. And a lot of people would say that I'm very passionate when I coach. So I don't care if I'm coaching checkers or basketball or baseball. Like, I'm definitely passionate about it. I'm going to get the best out of you. But at the end of the day, I'll be the first one to write you a recommendation. So yeah. I think the coaches that I had in college and in high school, and I kind of take a little bit from each coach.
No, I like that. Yeah, coaching. I mean, I remember when I started when I was like in my early 20s, right? I thought I had to come out and just be a hard, and in a way you had to when you're younger, because you're not that far removed from how old the kids are. And
it's different with So I think I'm pretty good at reading kids. So like there's some kids that you can get after, right? There's some kids you can kind of really beat up and really get after, and they're gonna respond, even better and fight for you harder and do the best that they can. But then there's some other kids where you might have to just give them a hug. A lot of my kids, like that's, one, it kind of sounds weird, but for me, one rule is like, you can't leave practice, enter practice without giving me a hug. I hug every single kid. I want to make sure every kid is loved. I want to make sure every kid is, that they know that I care about them. Because when we have practice and I'm screaming and yelling at you, just know that, I gave you a hug before practice, that I love you. So, it's different kids you have, different kids, as coaching. I mean, there's some kid you can yell at, some kid you can't. So, I mean, it depends what kind of kid you're dealing with. But majority of the time, I'm pretty good with the kids, so.
Yeah. No, I think you can be hard on them, but you also got to be there for them. There's just a lot of different factors and how you go about it. But yeah, I was just thinking of when I was only like 22, 23, and I was like, I just got to yell at them all the time,
Oh yeah. Young and in charge,
Which kind of leads into, what would be your biggest piece of advice for someone wanting to get into coaching?
Biggest piece of advice that I would give is patience. Gotta be patient, and then have thick skin. It's not going to always go your way. You're always going to have that person that's the Monday quarterback. You could be the guy. Oh, well, you did this wrong. You did that wrong. And I think if you have thick skin and you're patient, I kind of believe in being patient with the kids that I have. If coaching is the most rewarding thing you can do, I think. When you can change a kid's life, it's not just about sports. You're changing someone's life. Like, that's the most rewarding thing you could do. Like, I have kids that come back still, and they'll come to games and they want to just help out. They want to give back. And so I think anybody coming into coaching, you got to have thick skin and you got to be patient. You got to be able to be patient with the kids, and you know what? Don't get frustrated and don't give up on it. Because there's going to be times where it's going to go good, and there's times it's going to go bad. And I think you and I talked about this earlier. Is I coached at Chelsea. I'm going on my 5th season, and we didn't win one game until last year, and then they didn't win like 3 years before that. So coming into a team like 0-95, of course you need to have patience. But if you stick with the program and as a coach, if you believe in yourself as a coach, I think you're going to be great. So I would say those are the things that you would need: is patience, tough skin.
Nice. All right. Awesome. I like that. I want to get into the fan questions because you had quite a few. So first one's from Tyler McClure. He says, who won the last weekend's tournament? I'm assuming there was an indoor tournament because no one's playing outside right now.
Yeah, no. So the reason why I said that is because the last couple tournaments that we've had indoors, we've won. And last week, the guy that ran the tournament, Patchy.
Yeah, I know Patchy. Yeah,
he won the tournament. So, but it was a couple questionable things that happened in the tournament that it was just a tough tournament for us. We just ended up losing. But yeah, it was a great question. Yeah, we didn't win it. So
I read some of the thread on one of the posts, and I was like, it's one of those things where I don't do it anymore. But back in the day, and I think some people still do, you put like the eating popcorn gif.
I do that. I do that still. So but yeah, Tyler, thanks. Yeah, we didn't win last tournament. So
yeah. Danny Donovan says, better show some love to the modified game and the legends of the Chelsea League.
Yeah, Dan's dad was one of the best pitchers in the country at modified.
Okay.
So when I started playing softball and getting into softball, I played modified, and my uncle, who has the same name as me, kind of he had an opportunity to play softball, and he was a pretty good softball player as well. And just growing up in Chelsea, Chelsea's more of a Spanish city, you know, and with me being half Mexican, that's kind of like where my family went. So my family went from Mexico City to Laredo, Texas to Chelsea. And the Chelsea League was one of the best leagues around. Guys come in a sling. So when I played, I started off modified.
Okay.
And the modified game was unbelievable. You're talking about 100 to 150 teams back then. And, you know, guys, you know, were getting paid to play. Wow. And, you know, big time sponsors, whether it was like, you know, Thai Club, whether it was Interstate Battery, whether it was just a bunch of different teams. But yeah, Dan was 100% right. Yeah, I'll show a lot of love to modified because that's where I started. It was nice. And I started there, and then getting into slow pitch and U-Trip is definitely, you know, that's up and coming. But, you know, definitely modified made me love the game of softball.
Now, how did you start playing softball in general then? Was it because we've talked about this a lot with different guests? Like, do you just have friends that were playing and were like, "Hey, come on down"?
Just had friends. It's been in, you know, softball has been, you know, in my family for a while, you know, with my uncle. You know, my uncle played, you know, professional baseball, and so he would get invited to all these different tournaments. So as a kid, you know, I'd go to these tournaments, and they would fly us out for free. You know, they would fly us out, have a hotel, they'd pay expenses for everything, and so I would go and see these games, and they would start on Thursday and end on Monday. That's how many teams there were. So when I seen that, I was like, that's something I want to do. So then after I graduated, you know, college and doing a couple of different things with baseball, I was like, hey, maybe I'll get into modified. So I did. And then, you know, you see people like, oh, you got to try slow pitch.
Yeah.
And for me, I never wanted to do it. Like,
yeah.
That's not softball in my mind. So then I did it one time, and I loved it. You know, the people, you know, like, I know you've had guests on here that talk about the softball community, but it's 100% true. There's a bunch of great people that play softball, and you get to meet a bunch of great people. And so I started playing one time, and then I got into it, and then then it was U-Trip, and then it was co-ed, and then it was men's, and so I kind of dabble in everything. I still play U-Trip still. I play modified still in South Boston, and it's just, you know, I do a bunch of it. You know, it's great. You know,
it's an addiction.
It definitely is, yeah, for sure.
Lou Silvano says, "Oh boy, this is going to be a good one," and he says hashtag Lush Laugh, which you had the shirt on there. Is that it? Because I'm noticing that a lot on posts. Is that like?
So the Lush Laugh started like maybe like about 2 years ago, and the Lush Laugh is something that's like an obnoxious laugh, an annoying laugh. That when you say Lush Laugh, like when you hear the laugh, like then you know like what you just said matches the laugh.
Okay.
You know, so like the Lush Laugh is more kind of like it's almost like a choke / like cry laugh, you know?
Okay.
So when you hear it, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's why I said something so crazy that the Lush Laugh comes, you know, it's in, you know, that's why I had to say Lush Laugh.
Okay, awesome. Eric, and I'm going to butcher the Limoges, I believe, Limoges maybe. Should an indoor tourney game be longer than 8 minutes? I'm assuming that's another troll question on the indoor.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, Eric, that's a great question. So again, playing in the tournament last weekend, some rules have changed, and yeah, there were some rule changes that maybe shouldn't have taken place, but it did.
Now, because I want to give Patchy a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Because I don't know. You know what I mean? And does anything have to do with the actual facility and like timing? Because I saw a lot of that in the comments.
No, listen. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Patchy because I know there's people that, you know, whether they don't like what he's doing or what he's doing, but again, people continue to still go back, right?
Sure.
So like people are like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to play. But then the next week they're back. I mean, I think he does a great job with the tournaments, but there's some things that he does that are questionable. Like, so for instance, last week, there's supposed to be a time limit for each game. So whether it's a winner's bracket, loser's bracket, you get 30 minutes. But for some reason, when his team was losing at that particular point, the buzzer goes off. They said they had extra time. So if they had extra time, they can finish the innings, which you're technically not supposed to. So the time that you save should really kind of go to the championship game. So they finally get to the championship and they play us, and then he puts the time limit on for the championship. It's like, well, the time that you had that you saved, you should have used that instead of it for your game.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, because I was trying, like, again, I was reading the comments. I'm like trying to figure it out, and it kind of just reading the comments said, I'm just not going to play in these.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like,
I put the little emoji of popcorn. That's what I did.
Yeah,
But like I said, he does do a great job. I know some people get annoyed and aggravated, and some people are like, listen, it's just indoors. But I think it's just more of like the integrity of like, hey, if your team lost, just accept it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If you're going to save time, save it for the championship.
Yeah.
Don't say, hey, there's 25-minute games now in a championship round. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. But yeah, that's a great question. I think 8-minute games would be awesome if we did 8 games. 8-minute games, Eric, would go by quick.
You get your first 3, a couple hitters, and we're
That's
out.
about it, right? You'd win 1-0.
James Santos Bonesy, he said he better do this shirtless. Merrimack TV we couldn't get approval on that for public access, so we're sorry for that.
But so I think what Bonesy says is, so there's a lot of times where like I'll take like a championship photo, and I always have my shirt off. It's kind of like my thing. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think who that comedian is that like does his skit with the shirt off.
Yes, Burt
Burn something. You know who I'm talking about?
Burt something, yeah.
He always takes his shirt off. So for me, that's kind of like my thing. Like,
but you're actually in shape. He's not.
Yeah. So I'll wear like a raccoon hat, and I'll have a shirt, my shirt off for the picture. Just if you're in New Hampshire, you got to dress like a person from New Hampshire. A raccoon hat and no shirt. I mean,
see, I grew up in southern New Hampshire, which is a lot different than.
Yeah, definitely right. Yeah, definitely.
Cam Page says Uncle Lush is my hero. Was there when the kid first started playing ball.
Cam's awesome. So when Cam started playing slow pitch, he got his first hit. When he got his first hit, I ran out and I grabbed the ball from the game. I said, hey, listen, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to take it right now, and I'm going to give it to him as his first hit. So we took a picture with it, and Cam's been playing ever since. Cam's a great kid. I think he was 18 years old when he did that years ago.
Now, how did you cross paths? And if I'm wrong, I might be wrong. I always thought that Cam was a Seacoast, New Hampshire softball player.
He was, but there was a tournament that was like a police officer tournament. So I graduated the police academy in 2014 and became a police officer in Winchester.
Okay.
And so there was like a firefighter / police softball tournament.
Okay.
That he happened to have friends that were in it and came down to play, and that's when I first met him. This 18-year-old raw kid that never played softball, and so when he played. When he got his first hit, I stopped the game and I took the ball and I gave it to him. We took a picture and it was a good time. So Cam's a good boy. He's a good kid, and awesome. I'm glad that he's doing well.
No, awesome. All right. Joel Burke says, "Go get him, Lush. You're a legend. Big fan of yours."
Joel Burke's awesome. Yeah. Joel is a coach. He coached over at Arlington Catholic, private school, and I got the chance to meet Joel years ago when I was a teacher at Cambridge Latin.
Okay.
So I was a PE teacher at Cambridge Latin, and he was there with me, and I was there for the year, and he was just a great guy. He just talked sports all the time, every day, all day, and Joel is just a great guy. Give Joel a shout out. Definitely, he's awesome.
Oh,
Coach
nice.
was a good guy.
So did you start off in teaching and then decide to be a police officer, or?
No, it's a great question. So I was policing, and then I coached baseball.
Okay.
At Cambridge Latin. And the coach, Coach Karen, that was the coach, he was actually going on paternity leave. He was having a child with his wife, so he took off time, and he ended up taking off. I think it was like 7 to 8 months. So I ended up just filling in as the PE teacher for long-term sub.
Yeah.
And but I ended up staying in Cambridge. Liked me so much that they had me come back. So I was like a sub, every day.
Oh, nice.
For I think it was like 3 years.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was fun. Yeah, they kind of built a little position for me to be able to come in and like mentor the kids. They liked how I kind of interacted with the city kids.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a great time.
I was just curious because when I used to work at JMUS over here, we had a teacher that left one year and just went across the street and became a police officer. So it was like,
So getting into policing, it's something I want to do. My brother's a police officer, my dad's a police officer. It was kind of like it's in the family. But it was something that wasn't for me. Like I said, I went private instead, and to be able to be the director now. I got a small team. There's like about 17 of us.
Okay.
And I'm the guy. So I kind of there's some officers that come in or some security guys that come in that never done security. And it's kind of like me coaching. I like it because I kind of give them, kind of what I've learned from the police academy and different things. So
nice.
It's pretty nice, yeah.
Was your degree criminal justice or was it something?
No, it was business management.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Heidi Donovan wants to know, surprised he's coming on, he hates an audience.
Yeah, Heidi's the best.
I think that's a little, kind of a troll question.
Yeah, she knows I love the audience. Heidi, I've known Heidi a long time, and Heidi's one of my favorites, and she's just a great person. And it's funny, I actually talked to her for about an hour driving up here.
Oh, really?
She called me wishing me luck and that I was going to be great. So Heidi is she's great. She's a great person.
Nice, awesome. And one more question from Michael Karen. Is it true that you have been known to get burly on occasion?
Yeah, I get burly. Coach Mike is actually the one that took me on for Cambridge. So he was the Cambridge Ridgeland head coach. He took me on as the assistant and the JV head coach. And the Get Burly is actually it's actually unbelievable. So what Mike does, it's like a nonprofit where he goes to different schools around the country, and he does these team building activities, which is called Get Burly, and he does like motion, he motivates and does motion. He motivates the kids, and he does like these different activities that actually help like team building.
Okay.
And it's like he travels the country for it, and it's like he teaches kids like strength. He motivates the kids. He does like these team building activities that are like unbelievable. So yeah, kudos to him and Get Burly. It's my son did a lot of things with him, to Get Burly, and it's unbelievable. The Get Burly brand is it's up and coming.
I feel like I've seen something like a shirt.
Yeah, it's up and coming, and it's something that he's doing really well with it right now, and it's like schools are starting to like get the concept of it. And it's something that's just going to be great. And he does all different things, whether it's, you're a swim, whether you're on the swim team or you're on the golf team. He does different obstacle courses for the kids. And it's just something that's great,
Nice.
So yeah, shout out to Mike Karen. He's awesome. He's the first coach that took me in. That's my first job I had as a coach at Cambridge. And kudos to Mike. He's a great coach, and I've learned a lot from him big time. So
nice. Oh, thanks for the question, Mike. And I want to get into some top fives here. Now, we've kind of talked about it, that you've had a lot of different experiences in athletics.
Mm-hmm.
What are your top five, if you had top five, things either you've done or just a moment that you've had playing sports?
Top moments. I think one of my favorite moments is like, my Dean basketball team. We finished top 5 in the country, and we haven't won like a regional championship, I think, ever in the school when we were there. And that year in 2003, we ended up winning the regional championship that year.
Oh, wow.
And it was a great experience. We had guys, like Joey Brito, Mark Azadorian, Tremaine Cannon, Tyson, Eddie, all these guys. We had a guy from Japan, Hero.
Oh, wow.
So we had guys from all over. And that was probably one of the best feelings I've ever had, because I told you, Coach Corkin was a guy that was like intense, insane. This is a guy that's 6'10", and he's looking down at you screaming and trying to get the best out of you. And we've never won a regional championship. So to go out that year and win a regional championship, that was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Another one is, getting to play, in Mexico, playing in Mexico City, like kind of being a half Mexican guy, just being able to go to Mexico and playing, and kind of being in like where your family kind of grew up, where your mom grew up and your grandmother and stuff and your aunts and uncles. That was a great experience. And I think another experience is, being chosen as a preseason All-American, at Leslie. That was a great experience. And yeah, I mean, just sport-wise, after, graduating from Dean, the summer before I went to Ohio State, I was invited to go to like the Cincinnati Reds and the San Diego Padres camp.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I went out there for 3 months to the San Diego Padres camp, and that was a great experience, to do that. Unfortunately, I kind of chose to go back to school, which was nice. So it was either kind of do that and fulfill a dream and keep going, or kind of go to Ohio State and see if I can kind of, better myself and But that was a great experience too, being there with the big club and seeing these guys that you see on TV. Like, it was just a great experience, being out there. And
What year would that have been?
that was in 2004.
Did you get to see any of the players or anything like that?
One year we had like Scott Giles was there, but for a lot of the camp, like, it's a lot of guys of like the rookies that come up and like free agents and guys that they want to get a better look at. So it wasn't like really any big name guys. Yet we had one year we had I'm trying to think of the shortstop that was there for he was there for like 2 weeks. This kid Green, last name was Green. I'm trying to think of Green's first name, but we had like him, Scott Giles. Hoffman was there for like 2 weeks. Trevor Hoffman. But yeah, like it's mostly for guys that are like free agents or like getting a better look.
Yeah.
So it was a fun, good time, to be there for a couple months, and it's just a good time, good summer.
I was just bringing up because Tony Gwynn's like my favorite hitter of all. Like watching his highlights are like insane.
The best. Tony Gwynn was unbelievable.
How now? I just want to ask real quick. Like playing in Mexico, like are you traveling in all like different like parts of Mexico while you're there?
Yeah, great question. So it was the Mexico City Pro League, and they had different teams out of Mexico City where you would go. So it wasn't like we would be flying to different places.
Okay.
We would just be staying in that area. But getting there was a good time, because when we got there, they had like a team house. So we got like a team house. We got like team vehicle. But playing overseas is not as great as you think, because sometimes for a place like Germany, sometimes they didn't want to pay.
Oh, okay.
So like it depends. Like you have different, you have different levels. You have like an A level, which you're getting 150 to 200,000 a year. You get a B level, C level, D level. So I always happen to be like in a C level, which for me, going to Germany, it was like 2,500 a month.
Okay.
But I did it because no one can take it away from me to be on my resume. So some places paid, some didn't, So some guys, we'd have guys that would come in and be like, they would leave within the first like month because I haven't got paid yet. I was one of those guys that stayed for like 2 months, and I'm like, I haven't got one check to play basketball. It was great that they fed you and you had a place to stay, but you'd want to be able to get money too. So overseas, it's a tough thing. If you're not playing A's or top league, sometimes it's tough. It's not, the money's not really that great. You're just trying to build film, or you're trying to build like a name for yourself.
Try to get to maybe the next level.
To the next level, exactly. But yeah, Mexico was fun. It was a great opportunity. I was there for maybe about 3.5 months, and it was just a good time. Just being able to kind of like revisit my culture and stuff. It was great.
I'm really curious about this too. Like what were the crowds like?
The crowds are actually really crazy, actually. So like, when you think of like but these people like come in, they had like a lot of like the cowbell that you have there. So like a lot of cowbell. Then they had like those the big like kind of balloon things where you'd like whack them, right? You whack them.
I think soccer does.
So yeah, so like the crowds were great. But it was funny because like when I played, like we had like a translator. So like the guys would be Spanish the whole time, but then the translator would come in, which would be kind of like difficult, So, but it was a fun time. It was an experience that the crowds were great. Like when you're there playing, you're like a mini celebrity.
Yeah.
It's like people would come up to you, signing autographs. They're screaming at you in Spanish. You don't know what they're saying, but you're waving.
Yeah.
And but it was a good time though, to be able to do a lot of promotional things there and go to restaurants and meet people and do signings and stuff. It was a fun time. So I didn't get paid a ton of money, but just the exposure and meeting people. That's for me. That's what it was about. Getting to meet kids, and kids are looking up to you and stuff. It was a great experience.
Yeah, this experience not many people have.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I would never take that away.
What are the top 5 reasons you would say to someone to coach?
Top 5 reasons to coach?
It doesn't have to be 5. I know. We throw top 5, so it could be.
Yeah, no. Reasons to coach because you want to give back. Maybe you want to make a different difference in a kid's life. Maybe you love the sport. I think the reasons that I love coaching is to make a difference. So maybe I talk about my reasonings of maybe make a difference in a kid's life. I do it because I love the sport. I want to, the things that I've learned, whether it was in high school, whether it was in college, whether it was overseas, whether it was baseball, whatever sport it was, just to give back to things that I've learned to give back. It's the reason why I coach. So those would kind of be the reasons why. If you don't love sports and you don't want to talk sports 24/7, don't coach. Like I know guys. I don't really know that many guys, but I know people that probably would, or may coach just for the money. And can't do that, you know. Do it because you love, you know, you love the game and you're passionate about the game. So if you're passionate, be a coach.
Nice. All right.
100% be a coach. If you're passionate and you love the game and you love sports, just in general, be a coach. Make a difference.
Awesome. I like that. I want to ask this. You stirred up a little bit of controversy on Facebook with your top, I think, 10 baseball movies.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people were debating that.
Hated me for it.
And some of them I was like, because I think Bull Durham was on the list. I might have commented. But what are your top 5 movies, like your go-to movies that you can watch over and over?
Baseball or sport-wise?
Let's any really, but I'll obviously baseball. I would.
Yeah. I mean, Natural's my number one, you know, for sport-wise. I'm a huge big guy. Like I try to make people laugh a lot, right? I'm goofy and I'm crazy. I'm off the wall. I try to, you know, be as funny as I can. So I'd have to say, like, even like Dumb and Dumber was up there as well. Like Ace Ventura's up there.
He was in his prime.
Jim Carrey
was in his prime.
Jim Carrey's one of my favorite actors of all time. I think I've probably saw every Jim Carrey movie. So I think about actors and movies. I mean, Jim Carrey would be up there. Baseball-wise, The Natural is right there with Major League.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people would probably know this about me. I get like wicked. I'm like an emotional guy. You know, whether it's come to sports and coaching. So movies that I love that I know I'm gonna cry in. Like my favorite movies. I love Rudy.
Oh yeah.
You know, at the end, like I'm crying like a baby, right? You know, Major League when they win it, you know, I cry like a baby. You know, just anything that I can see.
Field of Dreams make you cry?
Kind of not. I mean, it wasn't really, Field of Dreams wasn't really a big thing for me, you know. I mean, I think like Rudy was big because just think about all the things he had to endure.
Yeah.
You know, I put myself in that situation, like of all the things you had to do in your life, he could at least just quit, you know, but he kept dealing with it, you know. So Rudy was a big one, and but yeah, I mean, The Natural, I cry. I mean, I cried The Natural, you know. I mean, just like any movies that you can see that you know, that you can do, and you know, you feel it, you know. When you can feel a movie, it's just it's one of my favorites, you know.
I gotta ask this because it wasn't on the list, and
Yeah.
it really stood out with me. Why was Bull Durham not on the list?
I never really got into really Bull Durham that much.
Really?
I mean, I wasn't really a big guy, and I don't know why it wasn't on the list. I mean, it could be on the list. It might maybe top 15, but I wasn't really into it that much, really. I mean, you know, I think I put Field of Dreams on the list, right?
I believe so.
I
Yeah.
mean, Field of Dreams was awesome, right? I think that was a great movie. I mean, I think was 61 on the
I think
list.
so. No, I don't know if it was
I don't know.
because people were angry about that.
I know. You know, I made that list real late at night. I mean, I might have been up tossing and turning when I made that list. So, but
I kind of want to do it. I might have to have you on because I might want to do a live stream though of like top 10 baseball movies of all time.
look, you know, I'm even more embarrassed than myself because I didn't even put The Sandlot.
Oh, really?
I didn't put The Sandlot in there. No, I mean, The Sandlot is, I mean, it's more of like kids getting together and like hanging out.
Yeah.
Not really like a baseball movie, you know. I mean, I guess it could be, but I mean, maybe there's some debates. If you're feeling upset about it, you can put it on Facebook if you want.
I gotta say, I think I like Bull Durham so much because of where I grew up in Nashville. We had the Nashville Pride,
Yep.
home stadium. I still go to a lot of Silver Knights games. Then we got the Fisher Cats, so I'm like,
Yep.
I love.
Now, if
going
I'm not
minor
mistaken, the
leagues.
Fisher Cats were the Twins, right? Minnesota Twins?
Fisher Cats are the Blue Jays.
Oh, the Blue Jays, okay.
So they draw good crowds. They've been here now 20 years. This will be the 20th,
I mean,
20th year.
I mean, minor league baseball, like it's coming up. Like, I mean, it's you take a kid to a minor league baseball game, you spend $20, you get everything that you want, you know.
Yeah.
Minor league is like it's definitely coming up, and you see a lot of like good talent, you know. So, but yeah, I could see why you would like Bull Durham being from New Hampshire. You know, makes sense.
I want to get into the final segment of the show, one of my favorites, which is buy or sell. I'm going to give you a topic, thing. Tell me if you're buying or selling it. We've been blessed in this area for the last, well, now more than 20 years with Bill Belichick as coach. And I'm still a Bill Belichick supporter.
Okay.
I don't like all the bashing on him. But are you buying or selling? Sunday will be Bill Belichick's last game with the New England Patriots.
I'm going to sell that. I think he'll be back.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll be back for one more year. Yeah.
You think him and Kraft will have? Because now they're talking about they're going to maybe have a meeting on Monday.
I think he's done too much for the city to not come back to end like that. I think that if he gets a couple guys that he wants, I think he'll be back 1 year just to show that he was, you know, a good coach.
Do you think that he still can draft?
Yeah.
All right.
I do.
I like to hear that.
I mean, I know there's a lot of Bill Belichick fans, but how do I say this without getting too crazy? I think if it wasn't for Tom Brady, there'd be no Bill Belichick. In my opinion.
I agree.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Brady got better throughout his career.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I mean, there's a lot of debates that I see online all the time where, is Bill Belichick the best coach of all time? And it's like you kind of think about it. If he is, he should be able to, win games with what you have. But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, we were blessed.
We really were.
But I think he will be back for a year. Yes, I think it's going to be one more year. I think he does not want to go out like this. There's no way.
I like that. Caleb Williams, I believe, out of USC, talking about him being the number one pick. Not selling.
Yeah, no.
What did you think of him hugging his mom or crying in his mom's arms after that one game?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Who doesn't want that? An emotional moment. But I don't know his last 3 or 4 games, I don't know. I think he kind of, I think he personally fell off. I mean, they would kind of project him as the number 1 pick, but.
I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, I watched that game when they played USC, and I said, he doesn't look good in this game.
I'm selling, so I'm with you.
All right, awesome. I got to ask this. We had last week, Jesse DeLay took over the show for a week. He's a big Buffalo Bills fan. Mm-hmm. Looks like the Bills are hitting their stride.
Yep.
He really wants to see them win the Super Bowl. Are you buying or selling the Buffalo Bills going into the playoffs?
I'm buying. Yep. There's one team I wouldn't want to play is the Buffalo Bills. Just because, I mean, they have veteran leadership and they have a good quarterback. They got a good defense. I think they started getting hot when it matters. And I think that's towards the end of the season right now. I would not want to play Buffalo in the playoffs now.
Do you think they beat Miami this weekend?
Yeah.
Because Miami's starting not to look.
I think they beat Miami by a touchdown.
Okay.
Actually, I'll say 6.
All right.
6.
I mean, the Ravens look really good, but I feel like they're going to fall off in the playoffs. I don't know.
No, Lamar Jackson he's just unbelievable. I mean, that's a guy that could do everything, right? He can run, he can throw. He's just so good. It just depends what kind of Lamar Jackson you're going to get. But I just think Buffalo is more seasoned. I think they have more veterans, and they're coming in hot. I like Buffalo. I'm not a Buffalo fan.
No.
I'll be honest with you.
Neither am I.
As a kid, I was a big, huge Dallas Cowboy fan, so it was great. When they lost, 4 times in a row, it was awesome. But yeah, Buffalo's just good right now. Okay. I would not want to play Buffalo in the playoffs. So.
Anybody you like in the NFC? Thinking that has the best chance of winning it?
I don't know. Who do you think?
Well, everybody's saying the Niners, but I wonder if.
I love San Francisco.
And Brock Purdy's a hell of a story.
Unbelievable story.
So I like that. I'm not sleeping on the Eagles just yet.
I think they're gonna have a good run. They'll have a good run. There's gonna be one surprise. Let me ask you this: What's the one surprise team that you think that is gonna be a surprise
in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a really good question. The Browns.
Right there with you. I was gonna say the Cleveland Browns.
Joe Flacco's we do the stream now on every other Fridays, and we pick who had the best week ever, and it's got to be Joe Flacco.
I mean, this is a guy that if you can get Joe Flacco like Baltimore Ravens Joe Flacco, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's just dangerous. I'm like, Cleveland is young, they're upbeat, they don't care. Sometimes you get like a young kid, some young rookie that doesn't give a damn. He doesn't care. They're gonna go out and play well. So I was right there with you, Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be real interesting.
Wish the Patriots were in it, but that's okay.
Devastated.
You do seem like a guy that likes social media, like myself.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you buying or selling TikTok? I don't use it, but I watch the videos on Instagram.
I'm not really a big TikTok guy. I mean, if you talk if you said Instagram or Facebook, I'd be buying. But TikTok is, I think social media right now is bad for all young kids. Because I think what's happening is this social media platform is giving these kids the idea to want to be like a TikToker, right? Or want to be someone like an IG famous person.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out that way. In life, you have to work hard to get what you want. And I think right now social media is really portraying this image to these young kids where, hey, if you want to be famous, it's better to be famous instead of working hard and having what you want, and doing TikTok videos and, being famous that way. I'm not a very big TikTok guy.
A lot of crying on there too.
Ton of crying. Let's sell TikTok.
Not really my generation's thing.
I'd be right there with you. I mean, I'm a social media guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, TikTok's a little bit. I don't know. Yeah.
Now you've been playing a lot lately. Buy or sell? And I know there's been controversy and everything, but indoor softball.
Buy it. I buy it. Some people make fun of it, but until you do it, it's just what else are you gonna do in the winter?
True.
What else can you do in the winter? You're gonna go hit in a cage? That's really not fun. You can go and compete, get the blood flowing. And again, it's like just seeing all the old faces, you know, seeing everybody that you can get to see and, you know, being able to just still compete, you know, it might not be the best thing. You know, the rules are kind of crazy, off the wall, off the roof, all this, but you're still competing. You're still getting swings in. You're still seeing people you get to see. So I like it. I buy it.
Where did you guys play? Where was it last week?
Hookset.
Okay, so that's a bigger one because I
Yeah.
know I think you were there.
Hookset's a big dome.
Yeah, because the Derry one was like, that's not as fun.
It's the size of the table.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, is it really that fun? Not really, but it's still getting in and getting swings, right? You're still competing and having a good time.
Hanging out with your friends and doing stuff. So, this is if you had a crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the roster is going to look like, but are you going to buy or sell in this moment now the 2024 Patriots? This is tough, I know, because we don't know much.
I'm gonna say sell again. I think they win. I think they win 5 games next year.
Okay.
Maybe 6.
How long do you think we're going to be in this drought?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years.
I mean, I'll take 3. I would honestly.
3 years.
I've said it before. I've seen all I need to ever see. You know what I mean? If more happens, I'll be thrilled.
I think, but see the tradition of like Patriot Nation and the Patriots in New England, people want to come play because the name is so great, you know. So you might get maybe get a couple veterans. Maybe you get a quarterback that wants to come play and help an organization and help a franchise get back to where it was. So you never know. But I say 3 years at least.
Okay. And last buy or sell, she was our coach in the Save the Tatas tournament. We had a really good run. I warned Brandon that the lights were going to go out, and they did. But Katie Mara,
The best. I buy Katie, definitely.
awesome.
She's a great coach, a good player. I met Katie 4 years ago playing sports. And her and I have a lot of similarities, like with coaching, you know, because I know she coaches at Bill Ricker and she coaches multiple sports. And, you know, she's passionate as well with the kids. And, you know, every time we play in a tournament, it's always talking about coaching. You know, it's always talking about, you know, being, you know, active and being able to teach kids and everything like that. She's a great person, great coach, great player. She's awesome player. You know, and she's a great coach, and so definitely buy Katie Mara.
She is. Katie's been a guest, and she was a great guest.
She's definitely a great coach too. I mean, we talk sports all the time. Like I said, when we do tournaments and we're doing different things, it's always sports, and it's like that's something like how many females can you just go and talk about sports? You know, and that know what they're talking about. So, yeah, definitely buy Katie. Great coach, great player, good person, good everything.
All right, well, Mike, I really appreciate coming on the
Thank
show.
you for
It's been a
having me.
blast.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Everybody out there, have a great week. Keep your heads up. Until next time, let freedom ring.